All right, so this is going to be a quick video on adding and subtracting rational expressions. We're going to get a little bit more of a deep dive compared to the last video with these problems where it's going to be a little bit, they're going to be a little bit more advanced. Okay, so the first one we're looking at is 3 over 2x squared plus 2x plus 5 over x squared minus 3x minus 4. Okay. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm trying to figure out common denominators, so I'm going to factor this out just so I can see it a little bit easier, see what I need to do to make this a common denominator. So this is I'm going to factor out a 2x from this one on the left. This other one, the denominator is a quadratic expression here, and we have to think about two factors that multiply to -4 and add to get -3. Okay. So those two factors would be x minus 4 and x plus 1. Okay. Now you can see there's not... Okay, I just realized that this should have been a 1. Did not factor that correctly. But one thing you should notice here is that there are kind of some common factors here, but not really in these denominators. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to basically... Let's start with the orange one on the right here. If we want it to be matching with this 2x, we know that there's going to have to be a 2x in here. So I'm going to multiply that one by 2x. Okay. Now, if you notice, there are three factors on the right here for the denominator. There's 2x, x minus 4, and x plus 1. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other one to make it where it has those same three factors. So I'm going to be multiplying this one by x minus 4 over x minus 4. Okay, so now when you multiply across with the denominators, they're going to have the same, they're going to have common denominators. So from here, I am going to distribute this 3 to this x minus 4 here. So you're going to get 3x minus 12 plus, okay, multiply this 5 by the 2x to get 10x. And then we're dividing all of this by 2x times x minus 4 times x plus 1. Okay, we can simplify that numerator a little bit here to be 13x minus 12. And then we're dividing it by, I'm going to actually just keep that denominator factored because at this point it's probably just easier rather than expanding that all out. And you end up with your final answer. All right, so this next one's going to be 7m over m minus 3 plus 5m over 3 minus m. Okay, now when this happens, something you can do is you can factor out a -1 from this, and you're going to end up with -3 plus m. So if you notice this, I can rewrite this part right here to be m minus 3. So now if you notice, we have similar denominators now because here's m minus 3 and here's m minus 3. The one thing is you have to take into account this negative here, so don't forget about that. In fact, what I'm going to do with this negative is I'm going to put it up to the top like this, so then we have a -5m up there. So now we have common denominators technically, and you can do 7m minus 5m, which is 2m, and then we're dividing that by m minus 3, and that's the final answer. All right, the next one is going to be x over x squared minus 1 minus 2x over x squared plus x minus 2. Okay, first thing I'm going to do here is factor everything as much as possible. So you're going to end up with x over x plus 1 times x minus 1. And then I'm going to factor that rational expression on the right here, and that's going to be 2x over x minus 1 times x plus 2. Okay. Now, if you notice, the common denominator that we can use here, the one that's missing over here, is the x plus 1. So I'm going to multiply this by x plus 1 over x plus 1. And then on the left side, it would be missing an x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply it by an x plus 2 over x plus 2. And if you notice now, the denominators are the same because they have the same three factors. So what I'm going to do is distribute out these numerators and then combine them. So we have x squared plus 2x minus, so I'm going to do 2x times x, 2x times plus 1. Good rule to do is when there's a minus like this, make it a plus and make this thing a negative, just so it's easier to look at here. So then you have negative 2x squared and negative 2x. And we're dividing all this by all of these factors on the bottom. So we have x plus 2, we have x minus 1, we have x plus 1. Okay, we're going to simplify the top here. We have 2x minus 2x, so that cancels out. And then x squared minus 2x squared is going to be negative x squared. So you end up with your final answer being negative x squared over those three factors, x plus 2, x minus 1, and x plus 1. And that's your final answer. We have p plus q over p minus q minus 2. All right, first thing I'm going to do is make this 2 a fraction, so then it's just 2 over 1, essentially. And we need to have common denominators here, so I'm going to multiply this by p minus q over p minus q. So now you're going to have, if I simplified everything, you're going to have p plus q, then this is a minus, so I'm going to do a negative with it. And I'm going to distribute to each one of these over here, this negative 2, so it's going to be minus 2p plus 2q. And if you notice, the denominators are the same for each of these. So I'm going to be divided by p minus q. Okay. Simplify whatever you can here. So on this top part, you can have negative p, and then the q's are going to combine together to form 3q. And then you're just dividing it by p minus q. Nothing will simplify from here, so that's your final answer. Okay, the next one is b squared plus 1, all divided by b squared minus 4, plus 1 over b plus 2, plus 1 over b minus 2. Okay, first thing I'm going to do here is factor, so I can figure out what I need to do for all these denominators. So it's going to be b squared plus 1, and then I'm going to factor out that b squared minus 4 to be b plus 2 and b minus 2. Okay, then I'm going to add this to that 1 over b plus 2, and then add to the 1 over b minus 2. If you notice, I left some room here because I need to have all these denominators the same. So I'm going to multiply this one by b minus 2 over b minus 2, and then I'm going to multiply this one over here by b plus 2 over b plus 2. Okay. So this is going to simplify everything because if you notice, all of the denominators are the same now. So same, same, same. So I'm just going to combine all the denominators. So it's going to be b squared plus 1 plus b minus 2 plus b plus 2. And then all of this is divided by b plus 2 times b minus 2. And you can combine that back if you wanted. Okay. The top, you're going to end up with b squared plus 2b, because there's two b's here. And then you're going to have a 1 minus 2 is negative 1, plus 2 is 1. And then this is all going to be divided by b minus 2 and b plus 2. And if you remember, that's just b squared minus 4. If you want, you can expand that out. And that's your final answer.